Hi, buyer. Thank you for taking my call. It's Kyle from the dealership. There'll be a little chatter usually. The reason I am calling is I just wanted to thank you for coming in yesterday and working with us. I really appreciate you taking the time. And then a pause. Wait. Give the buyer a chance to talk. Start out with a thank you. Start out with appreciation. Notice the difference in, hi, buyer, the reason I'm calling you is I just want to thank you for taking the time to visit us. I really appreciate you doing that. Or, have you purchased a vehicle yet? Are you still in the market? Is the price still too high? Is the trade value still too low? When you jump right to the old objection, it is not the best way to start the call. You want to give the buyer a chance to catch up with you. And then just give them a little pause. Just wait. Give them a chance to talk. Now, sometimes you're going to get very lucky and the buyer's going to go like this. Oh, yeah, thank you for giving me the call. You know what? I wanted to see if I could come back down and take a look. That happens sometimes. More often than not, though, the buyer just thanks you for calling them. Oh, yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure. And then you go into the portion of the call where you try and work the deal. Now you could maybe find if there's any unanswered questions. And buyer, I also wanted to find out, do you have any unanswered questions? Anything that you need any additional information on? Trying to get their brain working. No. I don't have any questions on anything. Now, if they have a question, remember what the goal is. In the automotive space, the goal is to bring the buyer to the dealership. So if they ask me something like, yeah, I was wondering if you could take another $5,000 off. And let's say there's no way I could do $5,000. I may not want to just get into the weeds right there and get confrontational. So I may say something like this. Okay, so you're looking for another $5,000 off. Gosh, that's a lot of money. I'd love it if we could do that for you. How did you like the vehicle? I may want to go into another direction if it's some weird thing that I can't control. So just keep in mind, if the buyer asks you a question you don't know the answer to, or if they ask you something completely unrealistic, let them know that you can check on the information, you'll find everything out, and then continue moving through the call. Okay, so you want to save another $5,000? Good googly moogly. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. I appreciate you asking me that, though. And if there's any way to do it, I assure you, we're the ones that are going to do it with you. So you're trying to save $5,000. On that truck that we drove, is that the one you like? How'd you like it? So acknowledge what they're trying to do and then take the conversation someplace else so you can figure out what you need to do. The next thing you may want to ask is how they liked the vehicle, or what did they like about the vehicle? Now, in this case, they're usually going to say something positive. How'd you like the vehicle? Oh, I liked it. Great. What did you like about it? Find out what they liked about the car. Find out what is important to them. Remind them of all the cool things that were on the vehicle that weren't on their old vehicle. This is a way to get them thinking about the car again. Now, another question on this thing you may want to ask is, what are you comparing that vehicle with? What are you comparing it to? Why would you ever want to ask somebody what they're comparing it against? Because they were with you when they didn't buy. Let's say that you're selling refrigerators, TVs, paintings, wall art, couches, anything. What are you comparing the couch with? Ask them what they're comparing it to. They may tell you they're comparing exactly your product against something else because of the money. They may be comparing it against something cheaper, something more expensive. Find out what they are comparing it to. All right, so let me back this whole thing up right quick. Thank the buyer. Give them a chance to talk. Ask them if they have any unanswered questions. If they ask you something weird that doesn't help the car deal or whatever you're selling, tell them that you'll check on it, have some empathy, and then ask them how they like the product. Okay, well, how'd you like the car? Ask them what they're comparing the car to. And now by this time, you are pretty well set up for a closing question. And one of the most popular closing questions in the automotive space is this. Buyer, if there was one thing that was stopping you from moving forward on that vehicle that we drove yesterday, what do you think that one thing would be? Give them a chance to talk. and then ask for the appointment. Okay, so the one thing stopping you right now is the money, or the one thing stopping you right now is the this, or the one thing stopping you right now is the that. And then take that one thing and use it as the fuel to bring the buyer in. Okay, so you're saying the one thing is you didn't like the color. You're saying the one thing is the money. You're saying the one thing is this or that. Now, worst case scenario, you know what the one thing is, even if you don't get the appointment, even if you don't get the deal. So if you want to go back to your sales managers or just take some time for yourself and figure something out that can make the deal work, now you know exactly what it is. Hi, buyer. The reason I'm calling is I just want to say thank you for visiting us last night. I really appreciate you taking the time. Oh, yeah, you were great. Awesome. And I also wanted to know if you had any unanswered questions on the vehicle. How did you like the vehicle? What are you comparing the vehicle to? Buyer, if there was one thing that was stopping you from moving forward on that vehicle that we drove, what would that one thing be? When you have this type of flow and you know exactly where you're going, it makes it a lot easier to be successful on the call. When I call customers, I know I'm looking for one thing, no pun intended, and that one thing is an appointment so I can close the deal. Everything I talk about, everything I do moves me in the direction of the appointment. Customize this for what you sell, have a call guide, and you're going to have a lot more success.